Picture this. You're out in a dry, dusty desert. A massive rattlesnake is coiled up, its tail shaking, completely ready to strike. It has one job, and it's deadly. Inject lethal venom into anything that gets too close. Right in front of it is a fox. Now, a fox isn't the biggest animal out there. It doesn't have the brute strength of a grizzly bear, and it doesn't have the raw, bone-crushing power of a lion. If that snake lands just one solid bite, it's game over. Period. But instead of running away in a panic, or doing something stupid like trying to attack the snake head-on, the fox does something weird. It starts dancing. It moves left, then right, darting in and out, just inches away from the snake's fangs. The snake strikes fast as lightning and bites pure air. The fox doesn't counterattack. It just dances again. The snake strikes a second time, misses again. This goes on for a while. Why? Because the fox knows a biological secret that the snake doesn't. A snake burns a massive amount of energy every single time it strikes. The fox is literally running a simulation in real time, letting the snake exhaust itself. Within a few minutes, the snake is completely drained, moving slow and totally defenseless. The fox didn't win by being stronger. It didn't win by having more venom. It won by outsmarting the aggression. I want you to hold on to that image, because if you watch this till the end, I promise you will not look at your life, your job, or your relationships the same way in the next 12 minutes. Let's be totally honest here. The modern world right now, it is a complete jungle. You are surrounded by snakes and bears every single day of your life. Maybe it's an aggressive boss at work who loves to yell and power trip because they have no control over their own life. Maybe it's a toxic friend who subtly puts you down just to make themselves look a little bit better. Or maybe it's just a chaotic, unpredictable economy that feels like it's constantly waiting to crush your bank account. If you try to fight these things with brute force, you lose. If you match their anger, argue with stupid people, or grind away working 80 hours a week until your brain literally melts, the system is going to beat you. The bears are stronger than you. To survive and actually win today, you have to stop playing by their rules. You need a complete psychological upgrade. You need to transition from just being clever to becoming genuinely smart. You need to unlock the fox mindset. But here is where almost everyone gets this completely wrong. There is a massive difference between being clever and being smart. Mistaking one for the other is exactly why so many people are walking around feeling stuck, burned out, and constantly exhausted. A lot of people are clever, but clever is just a short-term survival trick. If you mess up at work and you smooth talk your way out of getting fired, that's clever. If you procrastinate for 3 weeks and pull a chaotic all-nighter to finish a project at the last second, that's clever. Cleverness is reactive. It means you're always running from the predator, always putting out fires, always relying on your adrenaline to save you at the last minute. Smart is completely different. Smart means you don't just talk your way out of a trap. It means you mapped the room before you even walked inside. You saw exactly where the trap was hidden, and you chose a completely different path. The fox is the ultimate symbol of stepping out of that reactive, stressful cleverness and into cold, calculated smartness. Before we break down the actual brain science of how to install this into your daily routine, let's take a quick second. If you are tired of the old school, toxic hustle advice that just tells you to grind until you break, and you want to master the hidden psychology of the modern world, hit that subscribe button right now. Welcome to Fox Mindset. This is where we learn how to play chess while everyone else is still playing checkers. Alright, so how does a fox actually survive when the world gets aggressive? It comes down to a specific psychological shift. Look at what happens when a loud, aggressive person attacks you or criticizes you. They are operating on pure emotion, pure ego, and pure adrenaline. They are the bear knocking over trees. They actually want you to panic. They want you to get angry and defend yourself. Why? Because the moment you get angry, the part of your brain that handles logic and reasoning completely shuts down. You become predictable. You start defending yourself. And once you are predictable, you are incredibly easy to beat. But a fox is ice cold. When a fox is cornered, its heart rate stays controlled. It doesn't engage the predator's ego. It steps back mentally. It views the attack as raw data, not as a personal insult. In psychology, there is a term for this: It's called threat de-escalation through cognitive spacing. You create distance between what is happening and how you react to it. Think about a toxic manager screaming in a meeting. A clever person gets defensive, argues back, and probably gets fired or written up. A smart person with a fox mindset keeps their face perfectly calm. They let the boss scream. They note every single logical flaw in the argument. They let the boss look unhinged in front of everyone else, and they use that data later when it's time to leverage a pivot or protect themselves. You let them exhaust their energy, just like the rattlesnake striking the empty air. Now, I want to ask you a serious question, and I want you to be totally honest. Ask yourself right now, are you acting like the snake or the fox in your current job, or your relationships? Are you reacting to everything, or are you observing? Drop your honest answer in the comments. I actually want to read them and see where you guys are at. This brings us to the second reason foxes survive anywhere. And this is where the fox becomes genuinely dangerous. They do not complain about their environment. You can find foxes in the freezing snow of the Arctic. You can find them in the deep, damp forests of Europe. You can find them in the burning deserts. You can even find them in the middle of massive concrete cities like Los Angeles or London, raiding trash cans, dodging traffic, and navigating subway systems. They don't sit around complaining that the forest got cut down. They don't cry that things aren't the way they used to be 10 years ago. They look at the new landscape, they map the new dangers, and they change their entire survival strategy overnight. Your brain has the exact same ability. It's a mechanism called neuroplasticity, your brain's literal ability to change, adapt, and rewire itself based on new environments. But most people refuse to use it. When the economy shifts, or artificial intelligence changes how their industry works, or a long-term relationship suddenly ends, people waste months or even years wishing things were the way they used to be. They act like a hedgehog. A hedgehog only has one defense mechanism. It rolls into a spiky ball and hopes for the best. That works great in the forest. But it completely fails when a 2-ton car comes driving down the highway. Spikes don't stop a car. Rigid thinking does not stop a changing world. The fox mindset means your identity is not tied to your current job, your current city, or your current social circle. Your identity is tied to your ability to adapt. So, how do you actually start using this? Starting today, how do you build this psychological armor in a world full of aggressive animals? There is a 3-step framework you need to follow. Step number 1, develop your whiskers. In the wild, a fox has incredibly sensitive whiskers and ears. They don't just rely on their eyes. They can hear a mouse moving underneath 3 feet of solid snow. They don't walk into a clearing making a ton of noise. They sit, they listen, they feel the wind. They possess absolute situational awareness. Most people do the exact opposite. They walk into rooms completely blinded by their own thoughts, staring at their phones, or totally consumed by their own egos. They walk into a new job, a networking event, or a party, and they start talking immediately, trying to prove how smart or interesting they are. The fox mindset flips this completely. When you walk into a new environment, I want you to shut up for the first 10 minutes. Just observe. Look at the body language of the people around you. Notice who is talking the loudest. Usually, the loudest person in the room is actually the weakest. They are just acting like a bear to cover up their insecurities. Instead, look for the person who is quiet, but everyone else glances at them before making a decision. That is where the real power is. Map the social terrain before you make a single move. Let everyone else show their cards first. The second step is where things get slightly controversial. Master the art of the feint. Remember the dance with the rattlesnake? The fox didn't show its true strength right away. It baited the snake into making a mistake. In human psychology, this connects to something called tactical empathy. You do not need to show everyone your full hand. You don't need to post every ambition, every goal, and every dollar you make on your Instagram story. You don't need to tell your competitive coworkers what your next career move is. When aggressive people try to probe you for information, or try to start an argument to see how you react, use a feint. Let them think they are winning. Let them think they are smarter than you. Play a little dumb if you have to. When people think you are less of a threat, something amazing happens. They lower their guard. They stop hiding their secrets. They talk too much, and they tell you exactly what their weaknesses are. You conserve your mental energy while they waste all of theirs trying to show off. Step number 3. The agility protocol. A fox never, ever sleeps in a den that only has one entrance. Never. If a badger or a wild dog comes digging through the front door, the fox is already slipping out the back tunnel before the predator even realizes what happened. In your life, having only one entrance or exit is financial and emotional suicide. If you have only one stream of income, you are trapped. If you have only one tight social circle and no other friends outside of it, you are trapped. If your entire self-worth is built on just one thing, like your current job title or your relationship status, the moment a bear steps on that one thing, your whole life completely collapses. The agility protocol means you always have options. You are learning a side skill on the weekends. You are building an emergency fund. You are keeping your network wide and diverse. Options give you calm. When you know you have 3 different ways out of the den, you don't panic when things get messy at work or in your personal life. You don't have to tolerate disrespect. You just pivot and take the other exit. It's about moving through life with grease on your shoulders. When people try to grab you, control you, or force you into a corner, you just slide away. Not because you're fighting them, but because you're simply too fast, too fluid, and too strategic for their slow, heavy minds to grasp. But look, here is the catch with all of this. A lot of people hear about this strategy. They hear about tactical empathy and playing dumb, and they completely misunderstand it. They think that adopting a fox mindset means you have to become a bad person. They think it means you have to be fake, or a liar, or a snake yourself. They think it's all about manipulation, and honestly, that is a massive mistake. If you fall into that trap, it will ruin your reputation and your life. There are so many misconceptions about how this psychological trait actually works. In fact, there are 11 huge myths about the fox mindset that almost everyone still believes. And keeping these myths in your head is probably the exact reason you're still getting outmaneuvered by the aggressive people around you. If you want to know what those lies are, and if you're clever, click on the video on your screen right now. We'll see you there!